George Soros made the case for Germany to leave the Eurozone as he claimed Angela Merkel should have either fully committed to solving the European debt crisis or lead her country out of the monetary union altogether, unearthed reports reveal. Until March 21, Germany's policymakers were stubbornly refusing to abandon 6 years of fiscal restraint, even as it became clear that such spending would be required to mitigate the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, which is bringing the global economy to a virtual standstill. That all appears to have changed now, as Angela Merkel's government has announced a series of proposals that represent in aggregate approximately 10% of Germany's GDP. Part of the package takes the form of direct public spending, but the majority is government funding for purchases of equity stakes in companies. Given the likely catastrophic decline in economic activity not just in Germany, which was already in a recession, but the EU as a whole, more likely needs to be done, and according to the Financial Times associate editor Wolfgang Munchau, Ms. Merkel's government still placed too much emphasis on debt and equity injections and not enough direct spending. Mr. Munchau recently said, much of the money is credit, not grants. If a business borrows money while profits fall, solvency deteriorates. This was Italy's problem after the Eurozone crisis. Austerity left the economy in a weaker position to pay down debt. As many economists wonder whether EU institutions will be able to accommodate the long-term reforms needed to adequately address the challenges brought about by the coronavirus pandemic, unearthed report, the Hungarian-born currency speculator and strong supporter of European integration, has blamed Berlin for being the root of the euro tragedy since 2011. During the height of the crisis, he even made a case for Germany to leave the Eurozone in order to save it. In an interview with the Financial Times in 2012, the billionaire financier issued a passionate plea to Angela Merkel's government to lead the continent out of recession or leave the currency union. He said, "Lead or leave, this is a legitimate decision for Germany to make. Either throw in your fate with the rest of Europe, take the risk of sinking or swimming together, or leave the euro, because if you leave, the problems of the Eurozone, it is entirely dependent on Germany's attitude. If they insist on a policy of austerity, of reinforcing the current deflationary stance, and they won't budge from that, then, in fact, it would even be better for them in the long run to leave." In a previous piece for the Financial Times in 2011, Mr. Soros also accused Berlin of benefiting from the crisis. He explained, as the largest creditor, Germany could dictate punitive terms of assistance, which pushed debtors towards insolvency. Meanwhile, Germany benefited from the euro crisis, which depressed the exchange rate and boosted its competitiveness further. The Hungarian-born philanthropist, now a U.S. citizen, became known as the man who broke the Bank of England after he bet against the pound in 1992, forcing Britain out of the European